I don't encourage weight loss because it's unethical.
I disagree with you.
And what's ethical? You were asking before.
Weight loss is unethical?
Welcome back to the channel. We're looking at Jubilee, Jillian Michaels versus body positivity movement. I don't know if we'll watch all of it, but let's dive into it. I also plan to watch the follow-up between her and whoever. I don't even know who Jillian Michaels is, so.
Lost for it right now. I didn't know that you thought I wasn't for it. I wasn't allowed to have a ding-dong. When I came that obesity is not healthy and pretending it is puts lives at risk.
Before we get into it, my stance is very clear. The body positivity movement, I don't want to make a generalization. I'll put it like this. I don't believe bullying people who are fat is good. It's bad, like objectively. I think we should encourage more people to be healthy. I think glorifying people who are unhealthy is stupid. Simple as that. Let's dive into it. Obesity is not healthy, and pretending it is puts lives at risk. That's objectively true. There's really no argument otherwise.
If you want to be the first debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, we got a little bit of a moderator.
Hi, I'm Edie.
Nice to meet you.
I'm an eating disorder therapist. I'm going to do my best to not use the O word because I find it pretty offensive. So I'm going to use fat-bodied.
Obesity is offensive. These are the type of lefties I hate, bro. We're too triggered. We're too sensitive.
Okay. Do you understand why people find it harmful and triggering?
Overweight and obese is literally just having too much body fat. It has nothing to do with the quality of the person.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Are we going to debate the claim?
Yeah, I just wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to clarify though.
Are we going to pretend like I'm a 3 and you're my mommy, telling me how to talk?
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So the claim that you're saying is that it is inherently unhealthy to live in a fat body.
It's inherently unhealthy to have excess body fat. Yes.
Okay. Where are you getting that information from?
Oh, okay. There are dozens of MRT trials that show having excess body fat. Dozens is causal, not correlated.
Oh, no, that's not true. There's no disease that just fat-bodied people get.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But obesity lends itself to all-cause mortality across the board. Have you heard of something called adiposopathy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know it means literally sick fat. And you understand how it works?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me how it works.
So it's an additional layer of fat in the stomach area.
No.
Okay, so the difference there is she tried to make the claim that being fat doesn't kill you, and then Jillian made the correct claim that being fat makes you more prone to other diseases. That's the difference.
That's not what it is. It works as follows. When we eat too much food that has energy that we're not utilizing, the body needs to put that energy somewhere, right? So it puts it in fat cells. So it puts it in initially subcutaneous fat cells, a little bit of visceral fat, which is fat around the organs. And at first you have hyperplasia, which means we're recruiting new little fat cells, which isn't necessarily a bad thing up to a point. Now, the issue is that once you can no longer recruit more fat cells, right, you get hypertrophy. So the fat cells start to expand. And this is exceptionally dangerous because what ends up happening is the blood vessels get outpaced. So the fat cells can't get oxygen and they start screaming, literally. And when they do, they release cytokines, inflammatory proteins, right?
I want to pause.
Of course you do. I want to pause. Okay. Because it's irrefutable. You don't even know what I'm talking about. So
Jillian, okay, first of all, I don't appreciate the way that you're speaking to me. You called me out for just trying to understand the languaging and saying I was talking to like a 3-year-old, but I felt like I was talking to you very respectfully.
Do not come to a debate panel and get sensitive. That's just like, I don't know why you would come to a place where you have to debate very important ideas and you get sensitive on how people are speaking to you. Then don't do the debate. Simple. Don't do the debate.
You're talking to me very disrespectfully right now.
Here's the thing.
And I want to...
You're telling me you understand it, but you don't understand it. You fundamentally didn't describe it accurately.
But what I understand is that...
What's lipotoxicity?
I don't want to talk about, I am not, okay, here, I'm going to say this straight out. I am not a medical doctor. Okay. So I'm not going to talk to you about medical diagnosis because that's outside my scope. And I'm fully willing, hey, I'm fully willing to be wrong. What I am here to talk to you about is the fact that people in fat bodies are irreparably harmed going into the medical system every single day because of the term, the O word.
So that's what you want to
What?
litigate?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the claim though.
The idea that fat-bodied people are inherently unhealthy is, I believe, incorrect.
You're wrong.
No, I'm not
There's a
wrong.
robust amount of data.
I'm
You are
not
not-
wrong.
okay, so
You
let me
can't
finish
look,
the
you
thought.
can't look at,
And let me finish the
let me
thought.
finish my thought first.
Okay.
Okay, she has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. Let's move on to the next person. Jillian Cookter. Angela. Okay.
Hello. Hi. I have lived in a fat body for like as long as I can remember.
Oh my
And I've
God.
known very many fat people. And I don't think any of us, the people that I know, I can only speak to the people that I know, I don't think any of us are pretending that we're okay with it.
Then why are you debating it? What's the point? I mean, I'm gonna allow her to make her point. Maybe there is a point here. Let's hear it out.
What I want to say here is I live with autoimmune disorders. I live with chronic illness, and I'm also neurodivergent. And this is the body positivity movement has made it so that I can tolerate this life. I can find ways to thrive, even still. But I'm not pretending that this doesn't bother me. And by bother, I mean that it doesn't hurt to carry my weight. I'm willing to concede with you that carrying around extra weight is harder. It is. But it must be done.
I don't know that I agree with you.
Okay. Tell me more, please.
Well, tell me why you think it must be done.
Because I've worked really hard to not have.
Okay. This might be a very fruitful conversation. I'm locked in. Let me hear you out.
This.
What does that mean? Like you beat yourself up in the gym or something?
No, I don't. That's not fun.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying to understand what you mean.
What I mean is that I grew up with a number of undiagnosed conditions. And even I can think back to like middle school, and I couldn't keep up when the PE teacher would make us like run laps. And I'm like, this is physically aching me. And I didn't understand why. And I didn't understand why because I grew up with a single parent, undocumented single parent. We were bound to the medical system that we had access to.
I understand.
I've done what I needed to do a number of times to try to lose weight.
What did you try? Tell me.
I've I've worked out at the gym. I've tried to do Pilates. Even yoga.
Okay.
Even yoga hurts me.
Okay, so
I don't want to believe that she's just like not trying hard enough. I think that's sometimes disingenuous. It could be like a physical pain thing. And then there's just people who struggle with like doing this type of like effort as well. And I think sometimes it's hard pressed for people to go like, you're a failure because of it. It's something that you have to be conditioned to, I believe. And then at the same time, I do think there needs to be like a better support system to kind of push you in the right direction. Sometimes it needs to be an epiphany. And if you don't have it, then it's hard for you to lock in. Like I got super fat during COVID. And it took me a while for me to finally lock into the gym as much as I have been. But I have so much fat to get rid of. It's like annoying. Now I like working out. I like playing basketball. I prefer to be active. I'm typically just in good shape throughout most of my life. So like going through this fat process is annoying, but it does take an epiphany for you to like lock in individually.
the exercise causes you pain.
The
Due to
exercise
autoimmune
causes me-
condition. Okay, no problem.
Right.
I'm with you.
Dieting, for example.
Okay.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think that food makes very much sense to me in my neurodivergent brain.
This is why mechanistic eating actually helps people who are neurodivergent, and the research supports that
Okay.
because it doesn't have to make sense to you.
Okay.
In other words, it's like you eat on these schedules and you eat these foods and you eat this much, hence the concept, right, of
Hard
mechanistic.
pass. I don't like that.
I understand that you don't like it, but you'll have to decide which you don't like more. Carrying the weight or the mechanistic eating? Because it
I
actually
would-
could be helpful. There are other ways forward, but you told me you tried them.
I tried a whole lot. There's a lot of other things to be concerned about. I'm also a social worker. I work with youth. There are a lot of
Let's go back to you.
yes.
Tell me.
I'm saying for me, right? There are
Okay.
many things that I'm more concerned about
Okay.
than my weight. My body is not the most interesting
You
thing
just
about
brought
me.
up your weight and said, I don't see a way out of this.
Right.
I've tried everything.
I
telling
take
you
care
that-
of it in the ways that I can and I've found works for me.
I do think people need to be pushed. Sometimes I do think, I don't want to say bullied, be like strongly convinced to do otherwise. However, there is something to like feeling like it's overwhelming because when I work out, I'm a very busy guy. When I go play basketball for cardio and go to the gym, that's like 2 hours out of my day, bare minimum. So it is a lot of time, but so I think sometimes people want to go like, oh yeah, you're just being lazy. It's not that simple. Like, but you also need to lock in. Like it's something you need to take careful consideration to manage your time. It's not just simply going to the gym. You gotta manage your time. You gotta pick out a meal plan. Like there's so much to it. It's not simple.
But you just told me it didn't work for you.
But it works to an extent.
You just told me it didn't work for you.
It works to an extent.
And this is an irrelevant conversation if you're happy with it.
I stand on 10 toes down, that we are not pretending that
But there's
this is
healthy
okay.
at any size. There are absolutely elements and aspects of the movement that do put that messaging into the universe. I've had those debates.
You've said,
I've had numerous
I want
debates with
to-
people who are body positivity activists that try to tell me that they can be healthy at any size. And it's just not the case.
and I disagree with that.
All
And
right,
I can
we
give them
gotta
this
pause there.
shame.
We
You've
have to
used shame as a
pause.
vehicle.
And I'm sorry, we have to pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
What I'm curious
I-
about is if you care
I don't
about
hate
people's health and you have people in front of you, and I'm sure you have people online who are telling you that the body positivity movement, or I prefer body liberation, body justice, body acceptance, body blah, all the good shit that we like,
Okay.
actually increases their health, then I don't understand your debate. Like, what are you debating if the fat people are telling you it makes their life better?
Well, it's not about better, it's about healthier. And someone telling you they feel healthy means nothing. So those are two different things.
I'm debating their physical health, and I'm debating the people who claim that you can be physically healthy at any size.
Okay. Do you think you can be physically healthy and mentally unhealthy at the same time?
Of course, but that's not the claim.
Okay, sure.
She's
I
cooking.
think the part where I get stuck, I am a mental health professional. I work with people from a body liberation standpoint. I work with people in all shapes of bodies. What I know,
This is what makes certain people not believe in the validity of mental health professionals. Because how are you a mental health professional, but you're not intelligent enough to understand the difference between a claim about physical health versus a claim about mental health? She's not making a claim about mental health. She's making a claim about physical health. But to be fair, the prompt is obesity is not healthy and pretending it puts their lives at risk. So there could be a comparative analysis where the mental well-being outweighs the physical depreciation. That's possible.
to be true from my experience is that body positivity, body liberation helps people take care of themselves. It's very difficult to understand why you think somebody is going to take better care of a body they hate. Like,
Well, that's not the claim. And she's not making a claim about the movement. She's making a claim about obesity. And obesity is not healthy. So I retract what I said before. There's no argument you can make that obesity is healthy.
take better care
You're
of their
strawmanning
bodies.
my argument. I never said you should hate your body. In fact,
No, you
should.
didn't.
Okay, so I don't think that. What I think is that there are people in the movement
Yeah.
who have co-opted healthy at any size, and it went from access to healthcare
Okay.
to quite literally meaning for them that you can be healthy at any size, and that's not true.
Okay. I mean, the studies show that if you're very, 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 very thin, or your body is very, 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 very big, it is more difficult to be healthy. That is absolutely
But
true.
then you agree with me on this point.
I don't, because I don't think body positivity is the dangerous thing. I think hatred of fat bodies and people hating themselves and people living in self-loathing because they've been taught that their body is the wrong shape. That's the danger.
Both can be true at once. So let's look at this, right? So the
Okay.
first thing we would want to do, obviously, is incentivize somebody. So it's like, okay, what's the why that's going to allow you to tolerate the how? But hold on. That's the positive. That's the inspiration piece. Okay. Now, here's the issue. If that piece, if all the things that they get out of it don't serve them as much as the things they're getting out of being overweight, and it does provide quite a lot. I can give you an example.
Wait.
Then they're not going unconsciously. They will sabotage the change. Can I give you an example so you'll understand it? Okay. There was a kid that I worked with.
Okay.
On Biggest Loser. He's 18 years old.
Okay.
He shows up with his dad, Ken. They both lose like 100 pounds. They go home
Mm-hmm.
and they're visiting their family. It's the holidays. Doors fly open and there's mom. And mom starts crying. And she's not crying tears of joy. She feels like they're going to abandon her, like they broke the contract, like they've outgrown her. And she becomes sad and she withdraws. So what does the 18-year-old do? He starts eating with mom again. What does the food provide him? A connection with his mom. I had something similar with my dad. This is one of the ways that we connected. Food provides a lot of people with a lot of different things.
Yes, you cannot eat and not have your parasympathetic nervous system turn on at the same time. There's no such thing as not emotional eating. It's fine. It's good. It's great. Food is great.
But what I'm trying to show you is that if, in some cases, the pain associated with continuing that defense mechanism is greater than the pain associated with change, it helps people change in some cases.
Not in the long term. And I
Don't agree
struggle.
with you.
Pause there.
agree with
Sorry,
you.
you've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Okay, nobody's had a good argument so far.
So we earlier you were speaking about how there's randomized control trials that show.
Mendelian randomized control trials that have now shown us that obesity is causal to all-cause mortality.
Okay, so I disagree with that. I think there's going to be a problem with
dozens.
Yeah.
Good
So,
fact
but
check
here's
them.
why I disagree. Because
You can disagree.
No,
but
but let me please let me hear me out.
Okay.
Okay, so the reason why is because registered dietitian, school for 6 years, studying nutrition, weights, all the stuff, and
Tell
we
me
can't
what
keep.
lipotoxicity is.
It doesn't come off my curriculum because it's bullshit. Because it's a
Bullshit.
TikTok thing
What is
that's
it?
like
What is
cortisol
it?
face or whatever.
It's
But please,
not.
just
Listen
back
to
the
me.
studies.
It is not
the
bullshit.
studies, back to the
It's
studies.
ectopic fat.
But can we just
It's
say
when
because you keep
fat
sidestepping
ends
and then we
up-
can
I'm
never
not
get anywhere.
sidestepping. This is the claim.
Okay.
Okay. The claim is that obesity is unhealthy. Lipotoxicity
But the
is
reason-
not bullshit.
but-
it is the definition of ectopic fat.
It's
When
funny it never
fat
came up in
gets
6 years of a
deposited-
professional accredited undergrad.
What's fatty liver disease?
I know what fatty liver.
Okay, we might actually have someone who potentially knows what they're talking about. Hold on. Let me give her this stage. Hold on. Okay. Interesting.
I'm trying to show you is that if, in some cases, the pain associated with continuing that defense mechanism is greater than the pain associated with change, it helps people change in some cases.
Not in the long term. And I
Don't agree with
struggle.
you.
So we earlier you were speaking about how there's randomized control trials that show.
Mendelian randomized control trials that have now shown us that obesity is causal to all-cause mortality.
Okay, so I disagree with that. I think there's going to be a problem with.
dozens.
Yeah.
Good
So,
fact
but
check
here's
them.
why I disagree because
You can disagree.
No, but
there
let me
are-
please
there
let me
are
hear me out.
dozens. Okay.
Okay, so the reason why is because registered dietitian, school for 6 years, studying nutrition, weights, all the stuff, and
Tell
we
me-
can't is because registered.
Obesity is associated with higher risk of death from all causes. What is she? She's a what?
Dietitian, school for 6 years, studying nutrition, weights, all the
Okay, she's a dietitian, so she knows about diets. I don't know why she would disagree then.
stuff, and
Tell
we
me
can't
what
keep.
lipotoxicity is.
It doesn't come off my curriculum because it's bullshit. Because it's a
Bullshit.
TikTok thing
What is
that's
it?
like
What is
cortisol
it?
face or whatever.
It's
But please,
not.
just
Listen
back
to me.
studies.
It is not bullshit.
studies, back to the
It's
studies.
ectopic fat.
But can we just
It's
say
when
because you keep
fat
sidestepping
ends
and then
up-
we can
I'm
never
not
get anywhere.
sidestepping. This is the claim.
Okay.
Okay. The claim is
There are some bullshit TikTok nutritional stuff. Like she's correct about that. Now, I don't. Okay, I'm trying to see what the point where.
that obesity is unhealthy. Lipotoxicity
But the
is
reason-
not bullshit.
but-
it is the definition of ectopic fat.
It's
When
funny it never
fat
came up in
gets
6 years of a-
deposited-
Lipotoxicity. What is lipotoxicity? Toxicity. Lipotoxicity is a metabolic syndrome that results from the accumulation of lipid intermediates in a non-adipose tissue, leading to secular. The tissues normally affected include the kidney, livers, heart, and is believed to have a role in heart failure. It affects approximately 25% of the adult American population. Okay, so is she saying this is bullshit? Lipotoxicity is bullshit? Like what? What are we saying right now?
professional or accredited
What's
undergrad.
fatty liver disease?
I know what fatty liver. I was a
What
clinical
is it?
dietitian. in
That's
hospital.
lipotoxicity.
Okay.
Okay. When fat is in the liver, when fat is in the heart, when fat gets deposited in the brain.
Yeah.
That is lipotoxicity. And it happens when the body has no place to put the excess energy anymore.
Okay.
It is irrefutable that that is bad for your health.
Can we just go back to the correlation doesn't equal causation? So you're saying there's causal studies, right?
Yes,
Okay.
MRT
Gotcha.
studies
You can-
that
the
show
acronym's great. Okay. So my thing is the reason why we cannot show that the fat in and of itself leads to the negative health outcomes is because
Mhm.
we cannot keep a human in a lab and control every factor, but have the only
that's
thing
why
that's
they
different.
use Mendelian randomized
But can you just
control
listen? So a
trials.
person,
That
a person,
inherently eliminates any conflict.
Wait, she's saying you. Wait, please tell me she's not making the argument that these studies are bullshit regarding fat. Like, why are you doing that? What's the point? I don't get. I just don't understand why we do this.
Factors because they're based on genetic predispositions coupled with
but can I
lifestyle.
just share?
Okay.
A person in a larger body has
Yeah.
experienced things that we can't.
Like, she's not even obese. So why is she doing this?
It's coupled with
But can I
lifestyle.
just share?
Okay.
A person in a larger body has
Yeah.
experienced things that we can't undo from the fat. So for example, might have negative health outcomes because every time they go to a doctor, instead of being given an evidence-based treatment, like I have unearned thin privilege, I go to a doctor, I say, my stomach hurts. I get a full
You're
workup.
basically saying the earth is flat. Are you trying to tell
Mendelian randomized is a research method that uses genetic variants as natural experiments to test whether a risk factor like causes disease because genes are normally assigned at conception. This approach helps reduce confounding and reverse causation. Okay.
me
No,
that
no,
having fat in your liver,
I just wanna talk
having
about-
fat in your heart, having fat deposited in your brain is healthy?
No, I just want to talk
Okay,
about.
so no, you're not trying to say that it's healthy.
No, I'm not trying to tell you that is what I said. I was never talking about the health of it.
Okay.
I'm trying to say everything you're saying is hinging on this idea, and it's a problem that we disagree on it, that it's the weight in and of itself that leads to the negative health outcomes. You're saying this MRT totally is.
Fat is an endocrine organ.
I know, but can you?
It
What about?
releases,
but-
it destroys your hormone balance. It creates insulin sensitivity.
She's saying the fat doesn't cause these issues. I'm trying to understand at this point, Jillian, you don't even need to say anything. Go like, okay, so what does cause these issues? And if she goes like, well, we don't know, then yeah, condemn her. Tag. Like, what are we doing?
What about
when
the
the
fact?
body has too much fat, it releases insane amounts
Yeah.
of different.
I just
info-
wonder. Have you heard of social determinants of health?
Tell me about it.
Okay, social determinants of health, a group of factors that impact someone's health outcomes.
Okay.
That are things like your healthcare access and quality, neighborhood and built environment, things like your stress levels, socioeconomic status. So
Okay.
here's the thing:
Mhm.
a person who's fat or lives in a larger body, we can't take away that person has probably experienced higher stress levels their whole life from experiencing marginalization every corner, from shows
Okay.
like The Biggest Loser to the doctor's office.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, she's not. So this assessment is correct in certain situations. That conditional factors can determine either a level or a characteristic or a causality. Like, technically, she's correct. For example, where people try to bring up like Black people and them not having as much money or them being prone to violence, there are more conditional factors that play into it, such as education, the wealth in that community, and of course, there's a historical context and then cultural context. There's so many factors. It's not predisposed to the idea that Black people are inherently more violent. That's ridiculous. That's dumb. So if you use the framing that she's using, it could be correct under in certain circumstances. Regarding fat, though, is an improper use of the framing she's trying to do, because this has been biologically studied. It's not something that's like as complex as what I mentioned before. It's something that's very clear and direct. The overeating, the overconsumption of fat in your body causes or makes you more prone to these diseases. This is not healthy. That's why when you're really fat, you have so many of these issues. You don't have issues running because you grew up in a poor family. You don't have issues getting up from bed because you were around some hoodlums. It's because your body can't take it because of the excess fat. And all the things that she mentioned in terms of like what it can provide and what it can do to your body to make it prone to a heart disease, it's the fat, not the conditional factors. So I think her making that statement is like, there could be a level of truth, but the level of truth more so coincides to maybe why you became fat in the first place versus the cause of fat in direct correlation or direct causation to the symptom or the diseases being insinuated here. So yeah, that was ridiculous.
Okay.
We can't take away that they haven't been given evidence-based health options because when they go to a doctor, they're told to go lose
When
weight.
fat gets deposited in
But
the
you're
brain,
not answering what I'm
how
saying.
I'm confused. Are you suggesting these are the reasons people become overweight?
No, I'm suggesting that a person could be in a larger body and be perfectly healthy based on
Do
their
you realize
lab,
that
their
only
cholesterol.
7% of people who are classified as overweight or obese, call it whatever you guys feel comfortable with, only 7% are classified as healthy.
Say that was true. Say we
I
knew
can
for
go
certain.
grab the data for you right now. if you
Okay.
want.
Say we knew for certain that it was unhealthy. That what you're saying is true.
And here's the
But
classification.
even then, we'd be in this place where, okay, so what do we do? Are we going to send someone down a path of trying to lose weight and then gaining and trying and gaining? And we know that weight cycling in and of itself, bad for the heart, bad for insulin, bad for the
What do we
brain,
do?
bad for all the things.
We work with that individual.
That's what I do in my private practice.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And I don't encourage weight loss because it's unethical.
I disagree with you.
And
I
what's
think it's
ethical? You were
unethical
asking before. What
Weight loss is unethical?
Like what are we doing? What are we doing?
Weight loss is unethical?
I respect the impassionate empathy for people who are struggling with obesity. I get it. I understand. However, sometimes these people with all this passion, this empathy that they have in their large hearts that's filled every day by their kind actions, sometimes they do more harm than good. Sometimes these people cause more of a problem than the solution that has occurred. And we see this pop up of like great solutions throughout American society. And then certain people are so empathetic, they go too far to the point where they're causing more good than harm. So, in this situation, you saying losing weight being unethical as a moral stance, I wonder if we lived in a society where we didn't have everything given to us and had to kind of live in the wild, I wonder if you'd make that same claim. I think there's a certain level of privilege to be able to be obese and live in a functioning society that gets lost. I don't know, like the death records, bringing up how obesity has helped cause some of the leading causes of death, like heart disease. I don't know, the physical fitness that these people are suffering under. The struggle with so many of the other like conditional or not conditional extraneous symptoms of like depression, of falling into some of the most disgusting habits, like you name it. I don't want to say it here. I don't see how this makes sense in your head. Kind soul. Sometimes kind souls ruin society.
It's unethical
professionals
not
do.
to be transparent with people
And
about the
transparent-
dangers.
Yeah, transparency is the dangers of weight cycling. You can go down that
That's
path.
a separate issue. You're presuming they're
How-
weight cycling. If you're doing your job, they shouldn't have to weight cycle, right?
No, it's not about me. It's about the body. The body is so smart. But we're animals. Our bodies, when we lose weight, our body goes, oh shit, she just starved me. I'm going to do everything I can to try to get back to that place.
I think it's
Drive
more
up thoughts about
complex.
food.
I think it's more
Slow down
complex.
metabolism to conserve the energy you are getting.
So are you suggesting that because it's hard and it's multifactorial, we should negate the dangers and not try to
I'm
get
suggesting
healthier?
that it's more dangerous dangerous to weight cycle than it is to stay in a fat body.
It's still not the claim. And if you want to show me that, I'd like, sure, show me the data. I'm not going to argue with that. It's not healthy to do that either. That's still not the claim.
Your claim
This
is
isn't a
fat in and of itself.
hierarchy
Okay,
of
all right,
what
we're
is
out
unhealthy.
we're out of time. We have to pause there. Yeah, thank you for that exchange.
Who put these here? Can someone remove these off the set, please? Come on. No. Thank you. Thank you. That could have gone really bad. Workplace injuries are inevitable. And luckily for me, I know just who to call when accidents like that happen. Once on my way to work, a motorcyclist lost control, rammed into my car. He left with a few scratches, but there in the description
Of the body positivity movement.
All right, if you want to be the
Large food companies are one of the primary beneficiaries of the body positivity movement.
Oh, for sure. I think that should be undeniable. You keep on ordering their food, of course they're going to benefit the most. Unless you want to argue like the people are benefiting the most, but I don't know. If we're talking about profit, then no.
All right, if you want to be the next debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Hi. How are you? I'm Siobhan.
Nice to meet you, Siobhan.
So, what are you classifying as large food companies?
Okay. PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, General Mills.
Okay. Now, if they were beneficiaries and benefactoring and making all this money off of the body positivity movement, why is it that they spend billions on calorie counting apps, on a lot of things that we see in society as forcing the losing weight or talking about losing weight? Because that to me doesn't make sense and doesn't correlate, but also
People, if I'm going to be nihilistic, I would say they're creating a model of dependency, or not dependency, a model of circulation where you eat a bunch of their food and then you also buy their app and then cycle. Possible. If I'm more white-pilled on this situation, they still are a food company, so they want you to buy their product, but they have enough ethics to realize that people are over consuming, so they also want to incentivize you to be healthy. They don't want people to die because of their food. So this idea that they're not benefiting, I don't want to say something mean, but that's just dumb. Like you're clearly making them very rich. You buying their food is very clearly making them very wealthy. I don't know what else you need to say beyond that.
people that are benefiting from this are the people in the body positivity movement themselves.
Okay.
A little bit about myself.
Wait, can I clarify one
please,
thing?
please,
I'm
please.
talking predominantly about finance.
Okay,
Sorry.
perfect. Thank you. Even that, I still will say, so I come from the wedding industry. So I created the first publication in the world for plus size brides. I've now gotten 13 wedding publications around the world. And my biggest thing is the wedding industry is very centric on this is what the wedding industry looks like.
But you're not making more money than these big food companies. Congratulations, make your bread. You're not making more money than these food companies.
I have created a platform where and not just larger bodied body positivity, but body positivity for all sizes. And I'm going to come specifically from the wedding industry, which is very different. I know.
Okay, this is not a good point. All right, let's move on.
I think, unfortunately, the fact that the movement is decentralized and it's prone to being co-opted, it can do harm in the ways that I have shown you.
And
that's what I'm saying.
And that we can agree to.
All right,
I would agree
we got
with that.
pause there.
That's good.
We got to pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
Well, I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Looks like they had a good conversation.
So I really want to focus on what you've just been saying about the co-opting of the movement, because what you seem to be critiquing is the people who've co-opted the movement, not the people who actually built the movement, not the people who actually are the movement. So the idea that
What is the movement, though? So the thing is,
Well, for
I
what-
don't want to name names, but there are many, influencers who have said these things. So who's the movement?
influencers and activists are not necessarily the same thing. We were allegedly invited here as activists and advocates, not always the same thing, right?
I don't
influencers are.
disagree, but it's become, as I mentioned, a patchwork quilt of I'm an activist, I'm an influencer, I'm a dietitian. It's whereas when you look at something like AA,
Well, let me
It's
guide
very
you to
clear.
something very clear about the Health at Every Size movement. Health at Every Size is actually a registered trademark of the Association for Size Diversity and Health.
I know.
So when people are misusing that,
I know
we
that.
are a movement that doesn't have the same resources as the health and wellness industry or the health and wellness grifters or the major food industry, right? We don't have the same resources to fight every time somebody misuses our terminology, our philosophies, our practices, our values. But there are some of us out there who are doing that, right?
I never see the caveats. I never, ever see the freaking caveats.
So
But maybe today,
maybe you can help amplify some of the caveats.
I am doing that right now.
Okay, so let's go to the
I'm
claim.
trying.
The claim that body positivity is primarily benefiting big food companies.
I mean
If that's-
financially.
I got it.
Because individual benefit, I can't, it's not quantifiable. I'm talking about the way these bastards are manipulating this message
Right,
to
okay.
do things
So-
that I think are very unethical.
So if body positivity is feeding their profits, will we see their profits reduce as this pendulum swing away from body positivity continues to go back to the, like I get asked all the time as the director of NAFA, is body positivity over? Is body positivity over because of Ozempic? Is body positivity over because of MAHA? Is body positivity over? Part of my argument is it depends on what you're in body positivity for. If you're in it for systemic change, it ain't over because the system ain't changed, right? But I do concede the point that we are moving away from some of what we saw as body positivity for the last 10, 15 years.
And what do you mean by
As
that?
we
Sorry.
move away from that, it's less popular, it's less
Oh, I
trendy.
understand.
We're
Okay.
moving more towards a thin-centric ideal again, or leaving behind.
Hey, trust me, I like thick women. But we can't move to fat centric. It's just not healthy. I don't get what we're doing here. I just don't understand this point. We can't normalize unhealthy behaviors. That's just not smart.
We've labeled body positivity DEI, and we're turning away from that. Whatever. As we move
I'm with you there.
away from that, are we going to see the profits of these food industries drop?
Well, you are.
Why would you need to
hold on.
make food
Sorry.
genetically addictive if body positivity can just sell that food? If you could just tell people when you feel good in your body, you're going to eat all the Nabisco snacks that you want to,
Because
then why do we have to make them
that they don't
addictive?
even want you to stop eating one chip. This is how incremental they are about this. They literally engineer.
sounds-
Just hear me out. They don't even want you to have to stop and take a drink of water when you're eating their chips. So they engineer how much fat is in your mouth in each bite. There are a team of multidisciplinary scientists that literally work around the clock, 24/7, day after day, year after year.
Their body positivity scientists.
No.
So this is the thing.
No, I'm
right? What
saying
you're
they
describing
want
is a
no
misuse
friction.
of science.
Yeah.
What you're
Yes.
describing is,
Yes.
what you're
They want
describing
no
is
friction.
business. What you're describing is capitalism. What you're
Yes.
describing is greed.
Yes. Oh, I'm
Body
happy to indict
positivity
that.
is not the reason for that.
No, I'm.
So she's saying that companies are utilizing your approach of fat acceptance and are allowing, or not even allowing, just profiting from it. That's what's going on. They're profiting from you being okay with being fat because in order for you to be fat, you would have to eat a lot. That's what she's saying. So
Suggesting that I think you guys should get pretty freaking vocal and pissed because these guys are actively manipulating your message so much. I haven't even gotten to half the shit that they do. So, for example, they have effectively lobbied to remove nutrition guidelines and warning labels on food packaging because of harmful shame. It's like trans fats are bad for your health.
Okay,
It's a fact.
They have advocated for that. The
Yes,
body positivity movement, the
they're
fat activist movement, they're
your
using our language,
messaging.
right? Like
Yes.
you said, co-opting.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So they should stop co-opting our shit.
But they're not going to.
Okay.
But yes, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
So how do we
I
build
think
more?
you guys should get pissed about it. Like I get the things you're pissed at.
We are pissed about a lot of
I
things.
get it.
This
Can you
is
add this
it's a
to the list?
long
Add
list.
this. I'm saying they're the primary. You want to
And
indict someone?
It is on the
Indict
list
these.
It is on the list for some people whose focus is body positivity, right? We have different foci. I do civil rights stuff. Some people do fashion stuff, wedding industry, health and wellness, eating disorders. There are folks who are thinking about the food industry. There are folks who are nutritionists who are, I can't, without seeing the list of the people that I remember the Washington Post article.
Yeah,
some of
they're
those people are
grabbing the
not people
intuitive
that I
field.
would associate with us.
I understand, but they're literally, many of them are certified in intuitive eating.
Okay, but they're not.
Abby Sharp.
Okay, but that's not health at every size. Intuitive eating is not a health at
I
every
know,
size
but
principle.
that's part of my problem with the movement is that it's like, oh, but it's not that part. But it is that part.
You're
It's
saying
all
our
of it.
problem is that we conflate that all the things get conflated.
I'm not saying it's your
but you're
problem.
conflating some of the
I'm
things.
saying my issue is that because it's become a patchwork quilt, an amalgamation of movements and voice. Oh, it's an activist. It's a political. It's an influencer. It's a celebrity. There's no accountability for any of this. There's no through line, and it allows exploit.
All right. We're really not getting anywhere with this conversation, I'll be honest. Let's move on to this one.
Body positivity movement oversimplifies disordered eating and trauma.
All right, whoever wants to be the next debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
She's kind of right here.
I'm not going to assume, but I imagine you have some sort of maybe personal experience with eating disorders or disorder eating.
Definitely as a kid, would overeat. I wouldn't say binge eating disorder, but I would compulsively overeat. I would eat to have a connection with my father. I would eat to feel a sense of comfort. I would eat to feel a sense of control.
Oversimplifies disordered eating and trauma. I don't know if they do. I have no inkling to think that they oversimplify it. So I'm more neutral in this one.
Without question.
And did you feel shame and then go to therapy to work on that? Or did you just oversimplify it and then kind of?
I didn't oversimplify. I was 13, 14, and 15. So I didn't have the bandwidth to process what was actually going on. I was in therapy for other things that were going on in my household, and I definitely was helped.
Okay. So I'm glad that you're able to, go to therapy. That's not something that everyone is able to go to. It's a luxury and a privilege for a lot of people, especially in the United States. I have dealt with an eating disorder since I was 7. That's when it was first realized. It wasn't diagnosed at 7, but it was realized at that point. And my body fluctuated. I'm not going to use numbers because I think there are a lot of people that have disordered eating that use numbers as a metric. And so they'll look at me and I'll say a metric, and then it'll cause someone to have what I like to call a shift in where they are now to where they're going to be down like a rabbit hole of disordered eating behaviors. I think that trauma and eating disorders go hand in hand, but they're not exclusive. There are people that don't necessarily have any trauma, but somehow have developed some sort of eating disorder. My eating disorder was something that I had from a really young age and then just worsened because of my physical perception around people. But it wasn't something that innately was trauma based. I am neurodivergent and it was never diagnosed until I was, almost 30. So, but that's not because of trauma. That's just because of my neurodivergence. That's how my brain is connected. And so sometimes with neurodivergent people, they have eating rituals, eating routines that are rigid. And so that's where mine came from. So to say it's oversimplifying EDs, like body positivity is oversimplifying EDs, oversimplifying trauma. You're taking away the people that use the body positivity moment to find someone who they can relate to, and so someone that they can connect with that doesn't have the same road that maybe the masses had, but has their same road. Yeah.
You've been voted out by majority. Please return to your seat.
Wow, why should you get voted out? Damn.
Hi.
I'm Summer. How are you?
Jillian, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so the body positivity movement actually got me out of my eating disorder.
And she got
if that's okay, I would like to tell you a little bit about it.
Absolutely.
So growing up, I wasn't ever fat. I just have I have large breasts. I have got a condition basically. I know you're laughing.
I'm laughing because that would be my dream. That's the only reason I'm laughing. I was like, poor you, Summer. I'm sorry, go ahead. Not to try to invalidate how you feel.
That's okay. That's
sorry,
okay.
go ahead.
So I've got a condition called macromastia. It means that my breasts will just continuously keep growing. So I had to deal with this like my whole childhood.
Okay, now I feel bad. I guarantee everybody in the comments is talking about it though. Come on, like if we're being honest. Yeah, that sucks. Oh fuck. I was thinking like, there's kind of a body part I wouldn't mind I'm saying there's probably a peak of a length that I probably would be okay with. I'm fine with my size. I'm perfectly fine with my size. But like, let me chill. Let's continue.
And I got like picked on and bullied and stuff because I was 8 years old with like double Ds. So that's absolutely okay. I went to the doctors and they actually told me that I had to lose weight in order to get a reduction.
Let me chill.
At this point, I was actually a Scottish size 6, which is a UK size 2. So like on the bottoms, just obviously not on my top. So this actually drove me into an eating disorder, and I started to starve myself and try and make myself thinner so that my breasts would get smaller, and that never ever happened. Like they just continuously, because it's obviously a condition, so they just kept getting bigger as I was getting smaller and smaller. And it wasn't until obviously the online platform made the body positivity movement more aware to me, and then that really really helped me, and it's made me start eating more. It made me start posting more online about my body, and I just think that your claim's a little bit silly.
Can I give you some examples?
Of course, please.
posting online about her body. I bet you, I guarantee you, there's someone in that comment section going like, "Yo, what's her at?" I guarantee it. You know what? Let's look right now. Let's see how on point I am. Come on, prove me right. Prove me right. Comment section. Prove me right. Oh crap. Oh crap. Maybe I'm the problem. Oh crap. Maybe. Yeah, I think I'm the problem. Yep, I'm the problem. I am the problem. Indeed.
So while intuitive eating is actually not intended for people with eating disorders, I cannot tell you how many people have misinterpreted that. And I've ended up dealing with it personally for quite some time now. So, for example, things like avoid diets where mechanistic eating is actually recommended for people with many different types of eating disorders. And even the women who started intuitive eating suggested that, like, hey, this is a goal of eating disorders. And
what is intuitive eating? Intuitive eating was not originally designed, blah, 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 but its principles are often incorporated into evidence-based care to help reduce rigid dieting and disordered eating patterns. What is intuitive eating? Intuitive eating. So eating based off how you're feeling? Is that what it is? And trusting your internal cues rather than following external. So instead of following a plan, you just eat based off how when you feel like it. Okay.
And even the women who started intuitive eating suggested that, like, hey, this is
I've been intuitive eating my entire life. That's how I got so fat. Eating whenever I feel like it. Now I try not to do that.
a goal, not a treatment plan. But when you've got, random people online who are, hey, just listen to your feelings of fullness. You can't do that when you're anorexic. Your body no longer recognizes those satiety cues. It absolutely shuts it down. And it's, what was it? Listen to your hunger. Like you cannot do that if you have binge eating disorder and you're feeding a deeper hunger. It's the fundamental ways in which things like intuitive eating have been misrepresented by the masses. And of course, I understand what it was intended for. But if you think that the vast majority of these people posting on TikTok have read the freaking guidelines of mechanistic eating, I think we're both dreaming.
No, I get that. But I think the thing in my head is like, why do you care so much about someone else's body in order to like try and argue against body positivity? Like say someone's like fat, obese, whatever, walking on the street, that doesn't actually affect you as a person.
Totally right.
So I don't understand why you would feel the need to fight for people that are arguing for that person to feel validated as a person.
I'm not arguing for the person I don't know. However, there are people that do want help. And I think that this can leave them feeling exceptionally confused. And there are many that I have tried to personally help that have experienced feeling misled, misguided by some of the, or almost all of the intuitive eating principles, and they're not being educated on
But
that
you could
fact.
also argue like the latter.
But there are a lot of people that actually want help, and I care that they get the most.
But I don't think the
efficient
body.
help.
So they are going back and forth. And the reason why I pause is because I do think that's becoming more and more a valid question every single day. Like, why do you care? And initially, when people ask this question, you would assume that this is a disrespectful question for obvious reasons. Why do you care? You're not fat. Why do you care? You're not X, Y, and Z. And I mean, there could be a more nefarious reason, moolah, cha-ching, other reasons. But if someone can't answer directly that I care because I think there are people who are suffering from X, Y, and Z, if that is not your answer, then I do think you should look at them sideways. Is my point. And just because you're not a part of the thing doesn't mean that you can't provide a perspective or a solution for the thing. It's not about really the relatability. It's not even about being a part of the movement. It's about having the know-how, having the understanding to help the people who are suffering. That's the most important thing.
Positivity movement is like just for obese people, just for people that are drastically need
And
help.
anorexia is
It's
not
for-
obesity.
So I was anorexic, and the body positivity movement helped me. Do you not think that the body positive movement helps them rather than
I
shaming
think
them? Because that's how they get in that place in the first place, with other people shaming them constantly.
I am not suggesting anyone should be shamed. You're completing two different issues. I don't think
But
that
I
people.
think in one, it's all one issue.
It's not though, sweetheart. You're telling me that you think I think shame is awesome. I don't.
No, I didn't.
I don't.
That didn't come out of
I
my
think that these tools or things like, oh, you know what? It's society, it's that culture, it's this, it's that, it's bigotry. I like, no, dude, it's probably the fact that like somebody, God forbid, touched you when you were a kid.
I don't think
or-
that's appropriate or even right. In the slightest bit.
You
No
really
one
don't think
touched
so?
me.
No,
And
not you, dude.
no
I'm not
one-
talking about you.
I completely get it. And
I'm not
you
talking
also
about you
keep mentioning
personally.
like parents. I have two very loving parents. My parents never made me feel shamed about my body. It was like TV shows like The Biggest Losers. In the UK, we've got Super Size versus Super Skinny. Like it was all of these TV shows that made me feel like this. It wasn't my parents.
I'm going to suggest that I don't think you would be vulnerable to TV shows.
Why?
If there wasn't a primary injury. Because who cares, buddy? Do you know how much stuff like goes after me personally or after people of color or after gay people or after like
I actually think the other girl is making some really valid points. I don't think all of it is just trauma based. I think it's fun to just say that I don't want this to be a standard, helping you individually as well as setting a societal standard of healthiness. I think that's fun to say. She's trying to come at it on like these people are suffering like mentally. Not all the time. I do think there are societal pressures. But you said your pressure was that you were trying to lose weight to like decrease the size of your boob. So I don't know how you would be discombobulated with watching these TV shows. I think that's kind of misleading in terms of the framework you're trying to implement. I do think there's like pressures on like feeling bad or whatever, but at the same time, I agree that it's your choice to want to compare yourself, but at the same time, we have conditioned our society to constantly compare ourselves to the people who are constantly in front of our face. Like, it's not that simple. I think there's more to this conversation.
You have to remember, I'm quite young. So when these came out, I was very young, very impressionable. And I have like adults telling me that my body, because my BMI is higher, I have adults telling me that my body is like, you have to lose weight to fit in with normal people. Like you're young when you're
when that
impressionable. And
happens-
for you to be arguing against like body positivity, like I hope you don't have a daughter, because my little sister, like, needs the body positivity movement. I think people need the body positivity movement because without it, everyone's just going to be looking at other people, judging other people. Like, I'm sure.
You think the body positivity movement is stopping people from being assholes?
No, that's not what I said.
I think you're not right about that.
No, that's
I
not what I
definitely
said
don't
at
think.
all.
You just said you think it stops people from judging other people.
Yeah, well,
no shot that's going to happen.
They're
It's just
not
not going to
judging
hide it
people
from
on their
you.
size or what they're
Of
like.
course they are.
They're not.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
That's okay,
Please
thank you.
return to your seat.
Really nice to meet you, Lilia. So I think
No, I would say the body positivity movement has shifted people's dealing with like people who are like overweight. You've kind of become it's become reverse shame, where you call someone fat. It's like, oh, that's offensive. Like you can't call you don't really call people fat. And we've kind of reversed course. And I think a certain level of shame is necessary to standardize a level of normalcy, but I don't think a level of bullying. Like, I feel shameful when I do things that I shouldn't be doing, and that's okay. But I will say at the same time that shame can kind of cause you to spiral into like mental deficiencies. So we need to create an environment of understanding of like, these are obviously not good things, but at the same time, what resources are we putting, what society, what culture are we putting to incentivize people to like do better from what they're already currently under? Oh, they're still doing claim 3. Oh, seems like this is the big one. Okay.
The language there is a little bit tone deaf, just because I actually believe that gym talk, diet culture oversimplifies eating disorders.
Two separate issues, though. Both can be true at the same time.
Both can be true, as in
you could absolutely be making, first of all, gym talk should have nothing to do with eating disorder. So you're right, but it's a separate issue than the claim I'm making.
how is it separate?
Well, okay. So you're saying gym talk oversimplifies trauma and eating disorders, right?
Well,
I agree
not
with
just
you.
gym talk, but just the way that our youth, all of us we are all exposed to that. Like, we can't just avoid it. And when
Still
you
a separate
see
issue, though.
Yeah, gym culture is one thing. It's just about being healthy. You don't need to go to the gym to be healthy. All right, let's move on. I don't think she has much to add there.
but the fundamentals
Okay,
of the
pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
Thank you.
Please
Thanks,
return to your seat.
Hi.
I've been on a diet since I was like 6. You've talked a lot about trauma, being molested, parents, this and that.
Yes.
I've heard of someone mention the BMI. I've heard people use the word obese.
She got plastic surgery. Interesting. All right, this one should be touchy, huh?
Okay. So what is your thought on this oversimplification? I think actually the medical industry and a lot of health professionals have oversimplified.
I'm sorry if that's happened to you. I think you're seeing the wrong people. I know a lot of really good people.
But that's also privilege. Of course, you know a lot of good people. You're a rich white woman who's been on television. And I would love to know, somebody
A lot of
mentioned
them write
this show.
books.
Totally.
A lot
I
of
could read a
them-
book. I've read a lot of diet books, Jillian.
Not a diet book.
Or whatever. What kind of book? A self-help book?
Well, I mean, if you're struggling with an eating disorder and you're telling me I have no access to
Well, how do
any
I know if I'm
expert-
struggling with an eating disorder? Where does genetics play into all of this?
Do you want to take on genetics? We can.
Go ahead. Are you a scientist?
Do you think you have to be a scientist to understand?
No, but
the
I
way
haven't heard
genetics
one
work?
comment about where do genetics
Well,
play
that's
in.
that's not the claim. If you want to get into genetics and
Repeat
obesity,
the claim again.
the
First of all, obesity is
claim-
a very outdated term. It's based on the BMI, which is based on white
It's
men.
actually
In this, come on, Jillian.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Obesity. Okay. All right. And obesity. All right. Y'all can't shame people out of obesity. Obesity is obesity. I'm sorry. You can shame people out of saying you're fat. You could shame people out of certain words. Obesity, you ain't having that one. You ain't getting that one. I'm sorry. We ain't doing that one.
And you could be single-handedly responsible for updating the BMI.
Okay, but we also have waist to hip, and we have DEXA, and we have MRI.
Yeah, but let's be honest.
So
what are the
it's
MRI,
BMI,
meaning
you
like
don't
the
even-
machine most fat people don't even fit in?
You have DEXA, and you
I've
have
never
waist
heard
to
of that,
hip.
girl. What's a DEXA?
DEXA
These are
scan.
normal people. We are on TikTok.
Okay, how about waist to hip?
Hold on. There's also been a lot
Waist
of
to
like
hip
blame,
ratio?
sure, waist to hip ratio, but that's also like skeletal and like how do you-
No, waist to hip is not. It has to do with a ratio of your waist to your hips, and it's evidence, sorry to say, of excess visceral fat. That's what it's for. And that's an indicator of obesity.
So obesity, that term, what does that mean to you?
Obesity, it means that you have an unhealthy percentage of body fat.
What is healthy? What is unhealthy? Like what is the measure of health for human
For
beings?
women, I think it's in the 35 plus percentile.
35 plus percentile of what? By what measure? The DEXA?
35% of your body weight being comprised of body fat.
The thing that I think is most interesting is, and you didn't get to earlier.
You didn't ask me earlier.
Well, I haven't gotten there. Is no, with someone else.
Yo, she's informed. She knows every answer to every single question. That's when you know someone's really paid attention. That's when you know someone's really paid. She looked into this stuff. She's locked the fuck in. She's answering every question. Like, but how do you? Oh, this and this. You gotta respect that. That's an informed individual.
Said because I'm seeing a very different person than from who we've seen on television. And I think there's been a lot of blame shifting to influencers and TikTok. And the reality is, girl, that's where we're all getting our info now. I've never seen a full episode of The Biggest Loser because my parents told me to watch it and I said, all the way off.
Right, but you have no rage at your parents whatsoever, right?
Oh, well, I'm not fat because of my
all the way
parents.
off. That doesn't sound like a primary wound telling your parents to all the way
But
off.
the
Is that
primary-
not evidence of what I'm saying?
Totally. Primary wound plus genetics plus whatever choices I make in my life
pick
is
your-
where what
can
you're
I ask
seeing
you
now.
something? Pick the argument we want to have. Do you want to have a debate?
I want
Do
to
you
hear who
discuss
you are on the
genetics?
show, who that person is and was,
Okay.
and who this person is now, because
Same
I'm seeing
person. It's not at all. Can I say something? You just told me you never watched an episode of Big
Oh, but I've seen TikTok clips. I saw the documentary. I mean,
have
who
you
hasn't?
have you ever seen a full episode, let's say with one of my contestants like Abby Wright.
Tell me about the show. Tell me whatever. Tell me who you were on the show. Tell me where that Jillian Michaels. Because to be honest, we've all
talked.
Sure.
Okay, I'm the exact same person that you see now.
Mhm.
Now, of course,
Yeah, she is a fighter. She is not winning, but she's trying to fight. She's trying to scrap a little bit. She's trying to get some Hail Marys. Okay.
yes, you would see parts of what I was doing. You would never see the entire picture of what I was doing, and you'd never understand why I was doing it. So let me address the part that you're thinking of, okay? I had a contestant, 500 pounds. This contestant in particular had an exceptionally traumatic background. Can I tell you about it, or you don't care? Okay. So her mother.
Okay. I did not realize she was on The Biggest Loser. So she's coming at obesity from like also personal experience too. Okay. Now I'm understanding her a little bit better.
Was a prostitute.
a sex worker, we say now.
Her mother was a sex worker. If
You're not shaming me out of saying prostitute either. You keep trying all these weird tactics. No. Stop trying to change my vernacular. Stop it. I don't consent.
if that makes you feel
Sex
safer.
work is real work.
Okay. That's a separate debate. And I'm not, let's stay on point. Let's stay on point before we get into all the woke ideology. So having said that, the contestant named Shay, her mother used to sleep with men for heroin while she was locked in a closet. And she's going to go home based on the percentages. I didn't make the game, not a producer, very publicly had issues with the name and the gamification. So I don't want her to go home. And certain things need to happen before I feel, and I have seen, that there would be any hope of her being able to live past 40 years old. And she has all of the things, type 2 diabetes, the beginnings of chronic kidney disease, arterial plaque, all the things that are legitimately alarming. So I can't get her on this freaking ladder. It's day one. Can't get her on for 15 seconds. Tried everything. Cannot get her on this ladder for 15 seconds. And we're playing this out and we're playing it out, not getting anywhere. Because the story is, I'm weak, I'm fat, I'm worthless, I'm this, I'm that, all the internalized shame. And at that moment, I pretty much tried everything. What you don't see is this has gone on for about 4 hours and I can't get her on the freaking ladder. She comes in the room, I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm like, God damn it, get on this freaking ladder. I swear to God, get on the ladder or you're gonna go home. Get on the freaking ladder, going crazy. And I'm utilizing her fear of me, quite honestly, to circumvent the story that she thinks is true. Long story short, she gets on the ladder, she climbs 15 seconds. Show up the next day. She's like, I got back on the ladder for 15 minutes last night. I was like, that's awesome, dude. And she ended up losing 300 pounds. So you may not agree with it, but it worked for me and it worked for Shay in that moment. You don't know why I'm doing it. You don't understand that it's a life or death intervention on a ticking clock. You don't understand all the other things I've tried. So I kind of don't care what you guys
How much
think.
of her weight did she gain back?
She gained, well, good one.
Because
No, no, hold on.
95%
Can I-
of diets don't work.
Not my contestants. 35% of them kept the weight off, which is actually exceptional. And I could give you all the names. If 5% are able to keep it off, there are obviously a host, a myriad of reasons as to why that's the case. But if I had a 35% success rate, can you at least concede that maybe I'm doing a little bit better than the norm, than the baseline?
I can agree that the #1 celebrity trainer in the entire world has a success rate. That I can concede
You
to.
said keep it off. They kept it off. I got the weight off.
30% of people that went on a public TV show.
All right, we got to pause there. We are out of time.
My final surrounded claim is that the body positivity
95% of diets don't work. I don't. That doesn't sound correct to me. Unless they say 95% of people who appear on TV shows, one of these weight TV shows, get their weight back. Then that's different. I feel like all these reality TV shows most of them are shams, and all of them never work. Like all these love shows never work. Like I think we can agree there. But
movement is fundamentally disempowering.
If you want to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Disempowering. Oh.
Hi,
Got
nice
a
to meet
boy.
you. Hi, Zane.
What form or what do you mean it's disempowering?
Well, I perceive it as
It's
follows.
nice hair.
First, it's externalized shame, as opposed to appreciating that this is something that does arise within. And if you'll hear me all the way out, I think I can illustrate that for many, it is actually a choice, which I know sounds shocking to you, but just stay with me. So it externalizes it first. And then it invalidates it right off the top, right? It's bad, it's evil, it's this, it's that, instead of like, what can we explore? What can we learn here? And then it replaces it with things that I think are platitudes and really difficult to believe. Oh no, I'm perfect, I'm beautiful, this, that, but it's not so easy to just believe those things. There's a lot of work that comes along with believing those things. So it can feel like gaslighting. And then the last thing is like anybody who tells you otherwise gets framed as a victimizer. And concern can be shut down where I think it might be necessarily appropriate. So the way I would handle shame would be very different than the way I perceive the movement handling shame. And the same with acceptance. I think acceptance is key. But when I look at acceptance in terms of helping people, I like the serenity prayer best when it comes to Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So it's, God, give me the strength to accept what I cannot change, right? Give me the courage to change the stuff I can, and give me the wisdom to know the difference. I don't see 2 and 3 in the movement, but if you can illustrate it for me.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of like just share my personal story.
Please.
And I do want to share, and I think it's important that at my biggest, I was 335, which, you know, that's my story. And body positivity has given me the confidence to, in my opinion, appropriately lose weight because I've lost 80 pounds.
That's amazing.
I don't think you have to do that. That's, you know, a personal choice. I think it's all about body sovereignty, more about not just losing weight. It's about what fits in your body. What are the best health choices for you specifically? It's different for everyone.
I do think something you brought up, which I agree with, you need to create an environment where they want to do it for themselves, not for societal standards. Now, when I argue being fat is not okay, I don't argue because you're not fitting into the norm that is society. I argue it because individually your health is worse. That's my argument. So the problem is societal shame and fitting societal standards is not healthy, because any characteristic model of how to behave based off societal standards is always problematic, because the moment you don't fit in, you feel like an outcast. I have issues with that. So that part of the body positivity movement, or just anything that helps you kind of come to that realization of losing weight for yourself, not for society, I'm 100% on board with.
Everyone has different goals. If it's building muscle or losing fat, or also just increasing their mobility. I mean, I go to Pilates and yoga, and it's great for those kind of things. It's super fun. But I think for me, that body positivity was the one thing that really helped me feel comfortable in my body. And what I can say is, and I see body positivity as, of course, you know, just welcoming who you are, accepting your body. And because I was able to do that, I was able to, you know, identify what I wanted to do with my body, and that was to lose weight. Again, not something that you have to do. And I did it in a way where I appreciated myself. I appreciated my body rather than this inspiration of hatred. I think there's some people that are inspired by the hatred of their body, and that they'll lose weight even at a rapid pace, losing like 30, 40 pounds a month, which we know is not healthy. You know, sometimes
Depends
like
on how you lose
losing
it, but
like,
yes,
yeah,
for
right.
the
like,
average person,
even,
yes,
like,
I agree.
I think people agree that, or I've seen like, you know, 5 to 8 or 10 pounds a month is kind of what you want to do in a healthy, like rapid, a way to lose weight. And I think sometimes if you're doing too much, that's right.
It's not realistic.
And it can become unsustainable if that can
Absolutely.
happen. So that's kind of what I would say. And because body positivity was such a gateway for me to accept my body, that's how I think it's so appropriate and just so amazing for people who, and like you said, they are doing the work. Maybe not necessarily physically.
I was gonna say something like, I plan to lose that amount of fat really quickly.
I think that there is a mental component they have to address, because without that mental component, or that mental work you're doing, again, maybe they're just exercising or losing weight or whatever it is, or changing their body, all treating it out of shame rather than, you know.
My concern is that when I've worked with people who are obese or overweight, they don't appreciate, they feel victimized. And by the way, they have been victimized at one.
I think we're pretty much done with this conversation. Let's see this last one. Let's see this last one.
And body positivity.
I don't disagree with you. I disagree with how it handles shame.
Let's talk about the show.
Okay.
Tell me more about your, I guess, tactics, or who Jillian Michaels is to the world.
I can't describe who Jillian Michaels is to the world. I'm something to everybody. To some people, I'm a hero that saved their life, which I never, listen, I disown,
35% of people.
hold on, I disown that completely. It's not my accomplishment. It's a projection, right? Of I know you guys don't like this talk, but it is a projection of the good mommy. I'm not that. I'm also bad mommy. I'm the evil person that made them overweight, and I did this to them. I'm all these things to all these people. Who is Jillian Michaels? I mean, I'm 5'2". I spend a lot of money on laser hair removal. I got 2 kids. I mean,
how do you raise your kids? You use fear and shame to raise them?
Does it seem like I use fear and shame to raise them?
Yeah, because you talk about using fear and shame.
I don't talk about, first of all, that is a life or death intervention on a ticking clock.
But do you look at me and see a life or death need for an intervention right now? Be honest.
Yeah.
You might.
I do. We don't have a ticking clock, which means that if you chose to reach out to me.
We're
to
all on a
maybe
ticking
work on-
clock.
Not in the way that you go home in a week, dude. In the way that I get 6 days to try to figure out, to try to help you.
Okay,
That's
so you're back
very
to the
different.
show now. The ticking
I
clock.
thought we were
being-
talking about, well, you're
Sure.
asking me about fear, and I'm telling you that parenting and Biggest Loser, there's no parallel.
Okay, so shame.
Okay.
Shaming someone. So like,
I didn't say it's okay to shame someone. I'm telling you that the utilization of these emotions, I'm telling you that shame is a signal. It's telling you, hey, look over here. This here. So,
but shame from the world, like any shame
No.
I felt from, okay, we'll start here.
shame
Any
from the-
sh-
you're externalizing shame, which is
No, no.
exactly what I don't agree with.
And you're saying that I've externalized it by
No.
carrying it on my
You're-
body
you
as
ju-
well.
No, I'm saying when
That's a
you-
little bit of what you said
No,
earlier about the
no,
trauma is
hold on.
externalized.
Well, that would be utilizing your body as a container to manage emotions. If we're talking about in this particular instance,
Mhm.
I can give you an example of that,
Mhm.
but or not. So I'm not talking about shaming someone. I fundamentally disagree with that concept. I'm talking about the shame that is already there, not externalizing it. I'm talking about appreciating the fact that, like, okay, this is arising from within me.
Mhm.
Where is this coming from and why? If we, instead of going, oh, I think I'm ashamed because of what they did or what they told me, or what now listen, people are absolutely at one point or another, very often victims. However, how we choose to respond to that injury, okay,
Mhm.
at one time absolutely meant your psychological survival. It is how you survived that injury. The
Mhm.
problem is it perpetuates and it no longer serves. But
Mhm.
if we continue to repeat the pattern, it's actually called, has a name. It's called a repetition compulsion. And the goal, right, is I will master this. I will play this out. It's safer to play it out externally than where those feelings really belong, because that's painful. It's also safer because you
Shout out Jillian. I don't really need to see more of this. You thought. Apparently there's a follow-up with this woman. So let's check out the follow-up.
As long as it is okay to discriminate against fat people, I'm always going to want to fight for that fight.
You can fight that fight in any size pant. Marcy, I almost come at this from like death protests too much. I'm a fat person and I'm a fat person. I can't talk. Like, who gives a, I don't give a it's kind of, who cares?
We are othered in the world constantly. So it's very hard to step out of that identity.
There was chemistry. It was really interesting. It got really personal. You both had kind of a great rapport. So let's watch a clip of that. And then I'd love to kind of hear.
Oh, I like the follow-up. Addressing some of the things that were said. I like that.
What it brings up for you.
Shame is a signal. It's telling you, hey, look over here.
But shame from the world.
I'm not talking about shaming someone. I fundamentally disagree with that concept. I'm talking about the shame that is already there, not externalizing it. I'm talking about appreciating the fact, like, okay, this is arising from within me.
Mhm.
Where is this coming from and why? What is the primal injury that got this emotion? And subsequently, how do I deal with it where it's appropriate? Meaning the right, like not Victoria's Secret, okay, the primal wound. And then in experiencing that loss, feeling those feelings, which really sucks and really hurts, which is
Mhm.
why people have defense structures, coping mechanisms, so on and so forth. The way through that, you feel it and then act.
Oh, no. I want to be really real about this. Released it, and therefore then I will be thin. Here's the thing, John.
I need to get on a Jubilee episode in due time.
I want to be really real about this, and I am so like committed and have built this brand in like the plus size and body acceptance and fat acceptance world, but it's like there's nothing more, and I'll just speak for myself. I won't speak for all fat people as a monolith because they aren't, but there's nothing that I would want more than to sit across from someone like Jillian, the world's basically foremost trainer, and be like, yeah, let's go. Put me on your plan. Fix me. Let's go. Do I think that people that have trauma are like, what about all the thin people with trauma? Like, why did I get that gene? You know, like what is that? That's where it's like hard for me because one, I want to acknowledge not only how beautiful and eloquent and interesting Jillian is to listen to, but it's like, if it's, no, you are. I mean, obviously it's like, you're not a therapist. You're not a therapist. You're not a politician. And yet here you are being like given these platforms to speak at a level of expertise that's like, you're not dumb. I know that you've put a lot of work and research into all of these things. And I think that all of it makes sense to a degree. And there's just parts of it, that I struggle with. And so I just want to acknowledge that for me, it's like to sit across from a Jillian Michaels and say, yeah, like I would want to help you, whether you want to call it an intervention or whatever, it would be foolish of me to say, no, thank you. I might want to say, this doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. I think that's part of meeting in the middle. But yeah, I mean, for me, what I would love to have a weight release. I don't certainly want to feel shoulder pain when I wake up in the morning from sleeping on my side. I understand the physical limitations that, being a bigger bodied person.
This reflection is so healthy. I respect this so much. I'm about to bring a tear. Imagine if they did this with Medi and that one fascist. Oh, that would have been no way Medi would say okay to that. No way. But I find the reflection here amazing. Okay.
Will have eventually. I also know that this is my genetics in part. And so it's just like such a multifaceted thing.
Well, first of all, thank you, sweetheart. And it's absolutely a mutual admiration and appreciation for the way you communicate and the way you present yourself and who you are in the world. Okay. There's a lot to unpack. I'm trying to figure out where I want to go first. I would say off the top, I would never work with you under the pretense of an intervention, because an intervention implies you're going down the wrong path and we have to jump in, you, myself, and all your loved ones. I've contacted all of them. I'm sure there's a time and a place for that. That's nothing that I personally engage in. For me, I can only be effective when I have a partnership with somebody who wants to utilize me as a tool. That's all that I am. I can't be the captain of your ship. You and I have kind of had a little bit of that conversation. Truthfully, I think of myself like a vampire. I don't bite unless you invite me in. I really don't care what's on your plate. I don't care what's in your grocery. Yeah, but seriously, if somebody asks me for help, well, now you've engaged me, and now I'll participate in the ways you tell me you'll find useful. So I want to clarify that if Marcy tells me, okay, Jill, you seem to understand a lot about nutrition. You seem to understand a lot about fitness. You seem to understand a lot about how to facilitate weight loss on a physiological level. You seem to have some understanding of the psychological elements to this. Some of it rings true for me. Some of it doesn't. I'm 100% here for that, but it has to start there. And that's what I think is so important. Is like, we're both like, okay, where do we go?
Oh my, they're so buddy. How adorable. All right, what's the next one?
The next thing I would say to you is,
that is, some perceived to not be a good thing and tied to things that are outside our control. We can go there, but I think something we're both interested in is like, if we strip away kind of the societal thing and we zoom in on you talking to yourself, what does that sound like? Like when we talk about that shame, what does that inner monologue sound like when it's just you and you?
John, you're trying to take my job. Look at you.
I'm like, wait, is this what we're here for? Is this an intervention, you guys?
Pretty impressive.
My wife is a therapist. She's actually a therapist, so I'm heavily exposed.
Yeah, so you get it. Of course.
What's therapy? No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I mean, I do want to like flip it on Jillian at some point, because we don't want to just dial in on you. But I think that's where Jillian.
I mean, we could make it about you.
And we probably
could make it all about you.
Be more interesting, to be honest.
Personality.
So my internal narrative right now, to be honest with you, and I'm afraid to be like radically honest sometimes, because of, as we were saying, this like loyalty and this community that I've built and this brand I've built. And, my internal monologue is, as a influencer or sort of plus size personality, I should stay fat. They are all getting thin. Every body positive influencer that's like made anything of themselves is on a GLP-1 and they're losing weight. So a part of me is like, this is great for business that I'm the fattest I've ever been, because I can capitalize on that and be that beacon of hope for people that feel like they're losing the people that they see right now.
Honesty.
My own internal dialogue.
I respect the honesty so much. Like, people just need to be honest. If they're doing this to make money, just be honest. Don't pretend. Just be honest. I respect this.
About like myself and who I think I am and like how I value myself really has nothing to do with my body. It has to do with how I treat people and my relationships and my accomplishments. And I would say that in general, it's like very positive, but I think that the underlying, like what I describe as like a NASDAQ ticker, the NASDAQ ticker of my life has always been that I should lose weight. So while I have always been told that I should be confident and walk into any room like I own it and that I'm beautiful, it has always been, and if you could get a little thinner, that would be great. And it really wasn't until about a year ago that I started to quiet that voice, because when I tell you that I couldn't get out of bed at 3 a.m. without thinking about going on Ozempic, and it was an incessant, obtrusive thought, like that is not who I want to be. That's not my internal monologue. And it's hard to say, well, take out the billboards. It's like, I can take out the billboards, but I don't know. It's just, you can't take the billboards out of me. No, I don't know. It's to me, the narrative of you're beautiful and you're great and you're amazing and you're talented has always been there. And with this caveat of, but just always try to like lose weight. And it's just, it's exhausting. It's frankly just like, I am exhausted of that.
Okay. Walk me back. When was the first message of you have to be thinner?
It stems back to childhood, Jillian. It really does. I remember, like I said it in the show, asking for ding dongs and then coming in a different package and being like, this isn't a ding dong.
My mommy wound is only because of her own trauma. She's, of course, multi-generational. It gets into the epigenetics. It gets into how she raised me. Maybe you don't know you're on a diet till you're like 6. And then you go to your aunt's house who's like, anything you want, right here. What do you want at the grocery store? We'll get you whatever. What did I want? I wanted Yoo-hoo like everybody else because I wasn't allowed to have Yoo-hoo. I wasn't allowed to have a ding dong. When I came home and I said, I want ding dongs in my lunch. You know what my mom bought me? Low-fat ding dongs.
Starting at the primary wound.
Mom, yeah, of course.
Because and it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true for all of us. That is the primary relationship. It is quite literally primal. Your relationship with your mother is your literal survival as an infant and a child, okay? So starting there then becomes a pattern.
I just got super lazy during COVID. That's why I got so fat. Oh man, I got so lazy during COVID. DoorDash is evil. No, let me chill.
Pattern that you're feeling and experiencing. It is very real. I'm not taking that away from you. But what ends up happening, honey, it's like if I told you, Marcy, we're sitting in a room and I say, close your eyes and tell me all the places, I want you to take note of everything in the room that's red, okay? Open your eyes, take note of everything in the room that's red. You look around the room, get 60 seconds. You're like, red, 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 red over there, red in the cushion. Close your eyes, tell me everywhere there's blue. You'll have no idea. You're looking for red because that's what's playing out inside of you all of the time. And what I'm trying to tell you is that when the work is done on the primary wound, the billboard doesn't matter anymore. You will see a different color in the room. And I know, because I'm talking to you about something that's several steps away. So for a person that you're like, listen, I'm trying to stand up right now. You're talking to me about sprinting. You're absolutely right.
This is an interesting conversation. I'm allowed to be. I'm curious though on their thoughts about the social media comments though.
Pant. Okay, so I'm hearing a little bit of survivor's guilt, which is very interesting. It's like I can't abandon her with a seatbelt fight, and I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. So that's something else that we could explore. But I probably get there at a different time.
It's just like everything is so divisive right now, like politically, and then it's like if you go into like the comments I'm gonna get on on the Jubilee video, the comments that I'm gonna get, it's like they are gonna be so hateful, and it's gonna be all about how I look.
No, babe, listen to me. Do you have any idea? Okay, years ago when I was paying attention to comments, it's got to be 20 years ago at least. Susie Orman, I don't know if you know her, was a big money guru, and she's like, Jillian, listen, the dogs keep barking and the elephants keep walking, and the reality is simply that if they're not talking about you, you're doing something wrong. And the people who are negative are the most vocal. And you kind of just learn that all of those negative comments mean you're touching a nerve, you're sparking a needed conversation. And then, Marcy, here's the thing. Who cares? This is what I mean. Like, there are millions of people that hate me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, that's actually, Jillian, that's actually really interesting because what I'm hearing from Marcy is like her whole life is stacked in this cause. It's like friendship, money, ambition, identity, and then, the devaluation of people she's close to. And so it feels like everything's on the line.
Yeah.
If she can't thread the needle between being a healthier version of herself that she's told us that she wants and abandoning this whole life. So that feels kind of crazy. But I feel like Marcy's been in that vulnerable seat for the majority of the time. And I'm curious what it's been like for you, because, you were in a show that sort of drew a lot of heat and was like the center of kind of cultural conversations. And I'm sure you've been and you have a podcast that's political. So like you've been in the crosshairs of controversy for a long time. What have you learned from it? I mean, Jillian, you're more famous than both of us by a considerable margin. And I carry that same awareness into this conversation that she's bringing up. Like we both know that you're kind of more of a charged persona, but it's interesting because I asked you a little bit about that and you're like, I don't think about it. And so it's almost like more of a thing for us than it is for you. And to some degree, a lot of what we are talking about is like getting to a point where there's really a clarified relationship.
Hey, this is a good conversation. I'm going to end that right there, though.